The Essence of Religion. Report of a lecture delivered in America. In France, the rights of man was long a watchword of the race. In America, the rights of women still beseech the public ear. In India, we have concerned ourselves always with the rights of gods. The Vedanta includes all sects. We have a peculiar idea in India. Suppose I had a child, I should not teach him any religion, but the practice of concentrating his mind. And just one line of prayer, not prayer in your sense, but this: I meditate on Him who is the creator of the universe. May He enlighten my mind. Then, when old enough, he goes about hearing the different philosophies and teachings till he finds that which seems the truth to him. He then becomes the Shishya or disciple of the Guru, teacher, who is teaching this truth. He may choose to worship Christ or Buddha or Muhammad. We recognize the rights of each of these and the rights of all souls to their own Ishta or chosen way. It is therefore quite possible for my son to be a Buddhist, my wife to be a Christian, and myself a Mohammedan at one and the same time with absolute freedom from friction. We are all glad to remember that all roads lead to God, and that the reformation of the world does not depend upon all seeing God through our eyes. Our fundamental idea is that your doctrine cannot be mine, nor mine yours. I am my own sect. It is true that we have created a system of religion in India which we believe to be the only rational religious system extant. But our belief in its rationality rests upon its all inclusion of the searchers after God, its absolute charity towards all forms of worship, and its eternal receptivity of those ideas trending towards the evolution of God in the universe. We admit the imperfection of our system because the reality must be beyond all system, and in this admission lies the portent and promise of an eternal growth. Sects, ceremonies, and books, so far as they are the means of a man's realizing his own nature, are all right. When he has realized that, he gives up everything. I reject the Vedas is the last word of the Vedanta philosophy. Ritual, hymns, and scriptures, through which he has traveled to freedom, vanish for him. So hum, I am he, bursts from his lips, and to say thou to God is blasphemy, for he is one with the Father. Personally, I take as much of the Vedas as agree with reason. Parts of the Vedas are apparently contradictory. They are not considered as inspired in the Western sense of the word, but as the sum total of the knowledge of God, omniscience, which we possess. But to say that only those books which we call the Vedas contain this knowledge is mere sophistry. We know it is shared in varying degrees by the scriptures of all sects. Manu says that part only of the Vedas which agrees with reason is Vedas, and many of our philosophers have taken this view. Of all the scriptures of the world, it is the Vedas alone which declare that the study of the Vedas is secondary. The real study is that by which we realize the unchangeable, and that is neither by reading, nor believing, nor reasoning, but by superconscious perception and samadhi. When a man has reached that perfect state, he is of the same nature as the personal God. I and my Father are one. He knows himself one with Brahman, the Absolute, and projects himself as does the personal God. The personal God is the Absolute looked at through the haze of Maya, ignorance. When we approach him with the five senses, we can only see him as the personal God. The idea is that the self cannot be objectified. How can the knower know himself? But he can cast a shadow, as it were, and the highest form of that shadow, that attempt of objectifying oneself, is the personal God. The self is the eternal subject, and we are eternally struggling to objectify that self, and out of that struggle has come this phenomenon of the universe, that which we call matter. But these are weak attempts, and the highest objectification of the self possible to us is the personal God. An honest God's the noblest work of man, said one of your Western thinkers. God is as man is. No man can see God but through these human manifestations. Talk as you may, try as you may, you cannot think of God but as a man, and as you are, he is. An ignorant man was asked to make an image of the god Shiva, and after many days of hard struggle, he succeeded only in manufacturing the image of a monkey. So when we try to think of God as he is in his absolute perfection, we meet with miserable failure, because we are limited and bound by our present constitution to see God as man. If the buffaloes desire to worship God, they, in keeping with their own nature, will see him as a huge buffalo. If a fish wishes to worship God, its concept of him would inevitably be a big fish, and man must think of him as man. Suppose man, the buffalo, and the fish represent so many different vessels that these vessels all go to the sea of God to be filled, each according to its shape and capacity. In man, the water takes the shape of man, in the buffalo, the shape of the buffalo, and in the fish, the shape of the fish. But in each of these vessels is the same water of the sea of God. Two kinds of mind do not worship God as man: the human brute who has no religion, and the Paramahamsa who has transcended the limits of his own human nature. To him, all nature has become his own self. He alone can worship God as he is. The human brute does not worship because of his ignorance, and the Jivan Muktas, free souls, do not worship because they have realized God in themselves. Soham, Soham, I am He, they say. And how shall they worship themselves? I will tell you a little story. There was once a baby lion left by its dying mother among some sheep. The sheep fed it and gave it shelter. The lion grew apace and said, "Ba," when the sheep said, "Ba." One day another lion came by. "What do you do here?" said the second lion in astonishment, for he heard the sheep lion bleating with the rest. "Ba," said the other. "I am a little sheep. I am a little sheep. I am frightened." "Nonsense," roared the first lion. "Come with me. I will show you." And he took him to the side of a smooth stream and showed him that which was reflected therein. "You are a lion. Look at me. Look at the sheep. Look at yourself." And the sheep lion looked, and then he said, "Bah, I do not look like the sheep. It is true, I am a lion." And with that he roared a roar that shook the hills to their depths. That is it. We are lions in sheep's clothing of habit. We are hypnotized into weakness by our surroundings. And the province of Vedanta is the self-dehypnotization. The goal to be reached is freedom. I disagree with the idea that freedom is obedience to the laws of nature. I do not understand what that means. According to the history of human progress, it is disobedience to nature that has constituted that progress. It may be said that the conquest of lower laws was through the higher, but even there, the conquering mind was still seeking freedom. As soon as it found the struggle was through law, it wished to conquer that also. So the ideal is always freedom. The trees never disobey law. I never saw a cow steal. An oyster never told a lie. Yet, these are not greater than man. Obedience to law in the last issue would make of us simply matter, either in society or in politics or religion. This life is a tremendous assertion of freedom. Excess of laws means death. No nation possesses so many laws as the Hindus, and the result is the national death. But the Hindus had one peculiar idea. They never made any doctrines or dogmas in religion, and the latter has had the greatest growth. Therein are we practical, wherein you are impractical, in our religion. A few men come together in America and say, "We will have a stock company. In 5 minutes it is done." In India, 20 men may discuss a stock company for as many weeks, and it may not be formed. But if one believes that by holding up his hands in air for 40 years, he will attain wisdom, it will be done. So we are practical in ours, you in your way. But the way of all ways to realization is love. When one loves the Lord, the whole universe becomes dear to me, because it is all His. Everything is His, and He is my lover. I love Him, says the Bhakta. In this way, everything becomes sacred to the Bhakta, because all things are His. How then may we hurt anyone? How then may we not love another? With the love of God will come as its effect the love of everyone in the long run. The nearer we approach God, the more do we begin to see that all things abide in Him. Our heart will become a perennial fountain of love. Man is transformed in the presence of this light of love and realizes at last the beautiful and inspiring truth that love, lover, and the beloved are really one.